Welcome, Les. In your experience, where other commodity markets have developed from auction-style markets, what do you think are going to be the key stages for us to observe with this dairy market as it develops?
Well, Dan, over a few decades now, just about every marketplace has experienced some transition from the original traditional way of bilateral deals being done at the farm gate or at the warehouse or whatever, to some form of auctions process where you've needed human beings to gather together, to more recently electronic trading. And the electronic trading has been slow to emerge because of the complexities that many of the commodities and instruments need to be negotiated by both the buyer and the seller. However, in this day and age, those issues have been primarily resolved to a degree that there is now an opportunity for even the most complex industries with the sorts of detail that are required in the negotiations to be resolved. It can be done electronically, and even dairy, which I congratulate the dairy industry for now adopting at least a process that will move them to complete, perhaps screen dealing eventually. I congratulate them for going that far. So I'd say this first step is one where those that see the most advantage for them in perhaps getting what they want from either their contract specifications or more confidence in their price or more visibility for their own activities for a whole host of reasons that electronic trading brings to various people that participate. We'll go through a phase of implementation and what's called clustering. In other words, it'll start off with a few. It'll start off with only a little bit being hedged or traded, and then let it run from there to see where then people get more comfortable with that sort of dealing versus the traditional dealing they've been doing, through to having total confidence. And we can go into later just why screen dealing does bring benefits to all. At the end of the day, the mantra of the industry, the commodity industry, has been that liquidity begets liquidity. And it's been a tried and tested, proven thing that electronic trading clusters people into a very visible marketplace whenever you feel like it to do deals and transactions. And if they're done as a cluster of participants, then you can see the marketplace and how it's going. You can make up your own mind about sentiment, trends, volatility, and all those things that required costly additionality to the bilateral deal. And so it'll be a transition that's occurred in many, many industries. And I think people will be excited with what's going to happen.
Thanks very much. You mentioned benefits as part of your answer to the first question. So my second question is, how can this market embrace those benefits? And are benefits available for the entire supply chain? So producers, processors, distributors, and the retailers?
Well, the electronic visibility starts to provide the very first benefit that is a considerable one, and that is being able to see, as I just mentioned, the action as it's occurring, the trading that is being recorded, the speed at which that trading is occurring, or some other area which has been difficult to get an insightful feel by either the direct producer or indeed the direct consumer or buyer, it has to be relayed as to an after the fact event. So that exposure starts to then add on the additional benefits of giving people more confidence in knowing what they're doing, and in the fact that they're achieving an informed price, which is being transacted, as opposed to a wonderment as to whether, gee, did I get a good enough price, or is the price going to go up further or down further, and so on. And then through that stability of the marketplace, then the serious dealing can occur. Now, is it beneficial? Are there winners and losers? Along the way, there will be some losers and a lot of winners. But the losers are more, in my view, the cost, the reductions in cost that flow through to all of the genuine participants. In other words, all of the additional costs that used to be incurred through bilateral trading, by exchange traded trading, where there needed to be intermediaries to do certain functions and the processes and so on. So the screen dealing systems and the ability to get immediate price discovery and immediate clearance and settlement leads to reduction in costs. And that's a benefit to everybody. So in the end of the day, you have a marketplace where instead of having to deal on an annual basis for a, say, contract, or on an irregular basis contracting while the market's moving up or down, the flexibility of being able to have continuous markets, or at least weekly markets or monthly markets or daily markets, depending on the industry, you get a more regular feel for where things are going, and you can take measured decisions about what you need to do to keep up with the pace of the market and to minimize and mitigate the risks involved in price volatility or irregularities that come to the market. That's available to everybody, to the seller into the market, to the buyer into the market, and indeed, the more visibility of the industry itself in its stable condition, the more likely you'll get new business, new participants coming in, the more likely you'll have bank managers that are comfortable about lending, that you'll have more interest from capital providers, because they have confidence in this visible market. It's not a secret men's and women's club for dairy farmers or for milk processors. It is a market that is acting according to many, many other markets now as a screen dealing market. So I must emphasize, electronic trading is here to stay. Just the same as we're doing a video conference right now, there's the same thing is happening to everybody in their communication, is more about the immediacy and simplicity and lowest cost of doing it electronically. So it is an across the board benefit. If it's a downside, it is the fact that there is cutting out some intermediary costs that used to be in there. That's good as far as I'm concerned. The overall benefit is the industry. And the only reason I think the dairy industry hasn't gone to this point until now is because it is one of those quite unique markets in its perishable. It's a perishable good that has to be produced every day, that creates difficulty for the producer to spare the time to get into the dealing side of it. It has been a limited sized market in the sense that the number of processors that are available and the number of end buyers, etc. All of those inefficiencies in market formation, which occur in many markets, have been difficult to resolve. But we're on the brink of resolving all of those. And I think everybody will be the ultimate winners in the long term in the efficient market.
Thank you very much, Les. I now invite you to bang the gong. So I'll just pick up the gong, and if you would gesture towards the screen by virtue of some editing magic, we will open the market.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.